Thank you. Mr. Luetkemeyer?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Chairman, thank you for being here today. Quick question with regards to interchange fees. The other day, whenever Governor Raskin was here speaking to us, you were on the other side of the building speaking to the Senate. And we were led to believe by the comments that you made that you were considering extending the date for the rule on pricing of interchange fees. Have you thought about that a little bit more in the last couple of weeks? Are you still thinking about extending the date for coming up with the pricing on the interchange fees, or are you still pretty hard and fast at the end of April here?
Well, we've just now gotten all the comments back. We've got about 8,000 comments,
right.
and we have a lot of work to do. We also have to do a lot more work on some of the issues where we really didn't even make a proposal, like the fraud adjustment, for example. So we're moving as quickly as we can, but whether we can make April 21st is a question at this point. Part of the law goes into effect in June, independent of whether we make the rules or not. But we're moving forward as quickly as we can, but we want to do it, obviously, we want to do it right, and we want to take into account the comments that we've received.
So are you still considering extending that time then?
We're not extending the time in the sense that we are, doing so in order to get more comments or anything like that. But,
no, what I mean.
But we'll have to take as much time as we need to do the
okay.
appropriate rule.
Okay. As a former examiner myself, what do you say to your examining folks whenever they go out to the banks and they're losing roughly 13% of their income by taking away the interchange fee? What do you say to them when you walk in and their income's been cut 13%?
Well, the examiners have no responsibility for it.
Yeah, but they're examining the banks. They're looking
right.
at the capital accounts. They're looking at the impact of the lack of income.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to say to those guys? Are you going to give them the bank's forbearance as a result of this? Are you going to come down harder, require them to go raise fees? Are the examiners going to be, if they've been telling them what to do with their loans, are you going to tell them what to do with their income now?
Well, they still have to be well capitalized and
okay.
meet those standards. I don't know what the income effects will be. Obviously, some of it can be made up by other fees or charges, so we'll have to see what the impact is, but it'd probably be negative. You're right about that.
Well, it's a very real concern from the standpoint that if the income isn't made up, the services have to go away because you can't provide something at a cost and continue to keep your doors open. So, I mean, at some point, this is a problem for everybody. And I was wondering if the examiners are going to be giving some special instructions on how to handle this, or are we going to just see what happens?
Well, I think I need to say that we are following the statute that Congress provided, and we don't have the authority to make our own decisions on that.
Okay. With regards to what's going over in Europe right now, there's a lot of difficulties with their economy over there. Our banks have got, I think, $1.3 trillion worth of loans to the governments of those different countries over there. What effect do you think that's going to have on our economy and our monetary policy?
Most of the exposures that our banks have are to the stronger countries, the so-called core countries like Germany and France. They have limited direct exposure to the governments of the countries that are dealing with fiscal issues right now. Of course, they have exposures to banks and companies as well in Europe. So we're watching that very carefully, but at the moment, first, my expectation is that Europe will solve their problems because they're very committed to preserving the euro and the European unification project. And so I wouldn't put that in the very top rank of risks that our banking system has right now.
Well, do we not have, though, as a fallback position for them, their access to our Fed discount window?
No. If they have a subsidiary in the United States, a subsidiary in the United States can borrow from our discount window if it's fully collateralized.
Okay. That puts us right in the middle of this, though, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't expose us to any risk, any credit risk.
Okay. Just very quickly then, one quick concern I have is with regards to the QE2. I know over the course of the last fall, when I was talking to a lot of my businesses in my district, there was a lot of uncertainty. And that's one of the reasons they didn't get engaged with regards to trying to lend or trying to expand their businesses or whatever. We talk to banks or talking to manufacturers or whatever. And one of the things was QE2. The other one was the lack of extension of the income tax rates. At the end of the year, we did that, and quite frankly, I'd go talk to manufacturers and said, the next day after that happened, orders started to pick up because some of the businesses felt that there was more certainty. Obviously, there's still some uncertainty there with regards to QE2 because of concern about inflation. How would you address, if you're in my position, trying to talk to some of the business folks about how do you address that problem? What do you want me to say to them?
I would say that consumers have come back. They're spending. We see some pretty strong numbers in auto purchases, for example. And I think there's nothing that will overcome uncertainty like demand at in the store. And if firms see that kind of demand, they're going to respond to that.
Okay, I see my time's up. Thank you very much. Thank you for your
Mr.